This
Of
conference will now be recorded.
the concept of Quatha came, where you use Agni to extract the important alkaloids of the drugs. From the Quatha, a lot of drugs came into existence. Arista came, Arka came, Kshirpaka was there, Vati preparation, Shara, Ganavati, Vati, Gugulu, Avalaya, Gruta, Taila preparation. So from there it started expanding exponentially. There are other two drugs, two types, Hima and Fanta. Um, I think with the Samskara Bheda, you get a lot of virya to the medicine, and that's why wherever Agni is mentioned, the drug's potency is increased exponentially. And for from the Hima, we can take Asava, and Fanta also we can take Asava in the boiled water. If you keep the drugs, and once it is quite cold, and then you can use it for asava. In our family we do have references of that. In Hima is just for a preparation of asava. You store all the drugs in a container, and then you know uh, use it for Sandhana Kalpa. So from there, the entire development of medicine came from Panchavida Kashaya Kalpanas. Uh, from there onwards, we knew, okay, these are the drugs we want to use, and systematically it has been developed. So Swarasa was not working, and every time you could not, find a drug for preparation of Swarasa. So they started thinking about, okay, we'll make churna, Swarasakalka rather than churna. We can store it for 6 months. Then with the Quata preparations, they also discovered, okay, we can make aristas, we can make arkas, kshirapaka. They started preparation of vati. They started. The reason why it developed in the same month. By the time of Charaka, it was all developed. I'm not saying Charaka developed it. Before that itself, it was developed. Charaka is the one who codified it and presented in a manner which is easily acceptable to the classes of those reason. But the development has started like this. Okay, the reason for development is necessity is the mother of invention. So they also wanted a better product or a better pharmaceutical formulation for the treatment of diseases, and that's why they spent a lot of time in devising so many formulations. Next from here, then I think at the same time, the in the civilization only we discovered lots of minerals, and I think copper was one of the first metal that was discovered based on the data. With these minerals and metals like copper, zinc, gold, and silver, these were some of the materials that were being traded in Indus Valley civilization. So what happened is, they were converted into statues, or they were minted into small coins that can be used or traded off. But medicinally, the vessels that were created from these metals were used for storing water, and that water is used as a medicament during those days. That's one of the reason. And from there onwards, they started experimenting, and the smelting of copper uh, also was part of the smelting of zinc particularly. um, was pinnacle of technology in those days, because zinc has a very small differential boiling point and melting point, and it was only in India it was being smelted, and that's the method, or that's the level of technology we had developed during those times. Today we call it very crude, but in those days that was highly advanced. And we knew metals, and these were used, the vessels, the Tambra Patra or Rajat Patra, Swarna Patra, the cups made from tambra were used to store water, and that was used as a medicine. And the sorasa prepared from the drugs was stored in tambra, and that kind of references are all also there. During the same time, the iron was also discovered, and iron is used for smelting. It was a very strong metal used to make for weapons, and the kings of those time were more interested in warfare, and they used to the technology again developed for the control of fire to preparation of loha, and that has led to smelting of ukku. Ukku is steel, which is used for preparation of swords. Interesting fact is ukku is Wood's steel, which is very famous in the metallurgy world, is a mispronunciation of the word ukku, which in Kannada and Telugu both means steel. And while the preparation of ukku, we had very good control over Agni. And when we had very good control over Agni, we could go for Bhasma or Sattu preparation of each and each minerals. And when the Bhasmikarana also, you can say Bhanupaka Loha is there, where you take fine churna of Loha and then you boil it in Triphala, Kwata, and then you dry it in sunshade and use it for treatment of disorders. These were some of the developments which I have mentioned here, and then suddenly Parda came into existence. Uh, they realized, okay, how to use Parda. So during those times, when Parada was discovered, Parada, they knew about metals and minerals, but when they discovered a liquid metal and which is very shiny and which is, as they mentioned, Chanchala, it used to consume copper. So that has never been the case before discovery of mercury, and that's the reason the so many varnana is given about Parada in all the Rashastra books, that this is the creator. It will do rasayana, vajikarana, and for all the uh, you know uh, diseases the Parada can treat, because Parada can absorb copper, gold, silver, all those things. And from the Parada, the development of Rashastra, it went to fast track, quite a fast track. Uh, then with the Parada Bhasmas also came. Before that, we thought Parada Bhasmas are also there, and with the Parada, that's the reason they have mentioned. Okay, with Parada, the Bhasmas are quite strong and therapeutically very effective, and the dosage is also low. The Kastaushadhi Bhasmas are not that much therapeutically effective. Uh, then with the Parada, the came Kajali, which I believe is bulking agent. If you take it as it is, it's a quite good bulking agent. Then came the Kupipakwa and Potali Rasayanas, which were the last phase of, I believe, the last stage of Shastra development. I think in the middle of 19th century and after, I think there were no developments in the formulation of Ayurvedic pharmaceuticals. With respect to understanding of Kupi Pakwa and Bhasmas and Kupi Pakwas, Bhasmas are active pharmaceutical ingredient. That means Bhasmas are the ingredients. The Bhasmas are never a finished formulations. Bhasmas are prepared so that Bhasmas can be used to prepare a pharmaceutical formulation. That is the dosage form. Dosage form is like paracetamol, 500 mg or 650 mg is that is the dosage form. So bhasmas were mostly an API. This is my belief, and bhasma you can use, definitely I have used bhasma. Low bhasma is there, Kasi's bhasma, you can use it, but the dosage form is, I believe, is Kupi Pakorasayana or Pottali Rasayana, or any of the formulations where we mix Kharaliya Rasayanas, what you call, you mix multiple bhasmas and prepare Kharaliya Rasayana. For example, Panchana Rasa that we use for Jara Chikitsa. So this is the introduction about arsenical preparations. Without Rasindura, particularly in our family, without Rasindura, there are no Rashastra. So Rasindra is the main medicine. Without Rasindra, we it's like, okay, it's like the brain of the whole Rashastra. So particularly practiced in our region. So I mentioned Rasindura. Then Talaka. Talaka is Hartala. Manashila, Gauri Pashan or Malla. Gauri Pashan is Telugu name, Telugu and Kannada name for Shankhya, 5 yogas and treatment protocols, which I have tried to concise as much as possible. For Rasindra, again, the reference for all the formulations that I have mentioned is Anubhuta. Most of the references, whatever I have mentioned, is all Anubhuta yogas. Some of them do have references in Basarajam. Basarajam is like Dharmagrantha to our family. We always refer Basarajam. Without Basarajam, we do not do anything. The other book is Anandakanda. We rarely use Anandakanda, but we do keep a copy of Anandakanda also. But the main book is Basarajam. So here the Parda Shodhana for preparation of Rasa Sindura. Parda Shodhana is again Hingulata Parda. The Hingulata Parada, what we do is the classical reference is with Hingula and Jambir Rasa. So what we do here is a custom made Parada, Shodhana of Parada we do. The Hingula is mixed with Kumari. 3 hours trituration is done. Again, it is done trituration with Chitraka. Again with Kakamachi, Trifala, Nimbu Kasarasa, Lashuna, Haridra. These are the drugs. So with Mardana of these drugs, lastly when we do with Haridra Mardana, we create a bolus of the Hingula, and that we take it for Urdhvapatan, and the parada that comes from there, we use it for all the medicinal preparation. We do not use Ashta Samskarita Parada. The reason why our ancestors have mentioned that Ashtasamskarita Samskarita Parada is good, definitely good. There is no second thought about it. The time it requires for a person to prepare Ashtasamskarita Parada, and the time it was there for the Vaidyas to prepare the formulations after the Ashtasamskarita Parada is too high, so that's why they decided, okay, we will go for Hingulata Parada only. And Hingulata Parada also they were not satisfied, my ancestors, so that's why they have mentioned, okay, Hingulata Parada was also not giving us good results. So this, some of the drugs are from Basarajam and some of the drugs are from our Anubhuta, and this is the method that they used to do Shodhana of Parada. And the Gandhaka Shodhana, I think most of the BMS doctors know how to do Shodhana of Gandhaka. So 1 kg of Gandhaka, we use half kg of Gogruta and 2 liters of Godugdha. So we slowly heat Gogruta and then scoop by scoop we add Gandhaka until it melts, and then we take it from the scoop and add it in the Godugdha. There is always a filter is there. I think most of the Ayurveda doctors, BMS doctors would have done it in second year. So Marana of Rasindura Surunda, we do Marana only for Sindura preparations. We have Hingula Bhasma, but we do not have Parada Bhasma reference in our textbooks. Some of the manuscripts that has been written somewhere, 1 or 2 references are there. Agnistai Parada Bhasma, that's the name they have given for Agnistai Parada Bhasma. It's actually a Siddha Makarvaja. If you look at the ingredients and the process, it is nothing but Siddha Makarvaja. So for Rasundra, Shuddha Parada, Shuddha Gandhaka, we use Arkadugdha. Classical reference is Vatankura. We use Arkadugdha and we use it for Kupipaka preparation. We do preparation of Rasindura. The reason why we use Arka Dugda is my ancestors were living in a very dry land, Jangam Pradesh, Jangal Pradesha. It's a very dry land. Arka was abundantly available there. Shweta Arka Dugda is preferred for Rasindura in our family. And with Arka Dugda, the Rasundra which is prepared in our home, our family, is quite Ushna and Ugra. So the dosage will also be quite less. Say you can use for 65 mg. If you are using 125 mg, you can use 65 mg of Rasindra. There are 3 different types of Rasindra we used to prepare. One is with Arkadugda, another one is Krishna Karpasa, and the third one is Krishna Daturasvarsa. These 3 are 3 distinct Rasindras we used to prepare. That's why I said Rasindra is one of the main medicines we used to have in our formulations. Krishna Karpasa is used for um, stomach disorders, and Krishna Dhatura is particularly used for Swasakasa rogas. And the main Arka Dugdha is mainly used for Jwara and other disorders. That's the difference they have. Main yoga that we use in our family is Vasankusma Rasa. So in Andhra, particularly in olden days, the Rasindura is not the name which was used. The name used was Kupi Matra. The name was Kupi Matra, and Rasindura is prepared like how Kupi we use today. When we were preparing, when I was working with my father, the Kupi Pak was prepared from small earthen vessels, which was kept in a Valukantra. We never used Kupi. We always used small earthen vessels, and it was called as Kupi Matra. So Kupi, matlab a uh, small earthen vessel or glass bottle, and the name was Kupi Matra. And how we used to use Kupi Matra is it was used same like Potalikalpa. So it used to have seven sides, five sides, three sides, like that. They used to make sides for the Kupi Matra, and it used to rub on the slab, and that was given to the patient. That's the dosage. Dosage was given for in that manner. So in our family, Rasindra is very very important yoga, and without Rasindra, I don't think we will ever be able to practice in our family because all the yogas are based on Rasindra. And interesting fact in our family is in place of Kajali, wherever Kajali is mentioned in the yoga, we use Rasindra. And because we use Rasindra in place of Kajali, the dosage of the end dravya becomes all the Karaliya dravyas. I'm talking about Karaliya dravyas. All the Karaliya dravyas where Kajali is mentioned, we use the Rasindra. So wherever we use, whenever you use Rasindra, the dosage becomes half of that. If the dosage is 125 mg, the dosage becomes 65 mg. That's the reason. The reason why they have done so many modifications to the formulation is it's a very dry land. The our my ancestors came from very dry land, and it's a very poor region of Andhra, and the population could not afford very expensive medicine, and these are some of the reasons why they had to innovate and get the dosage quite low and give the same efficacy. That's the reason they have done so many changes. Next one is Talaka Hartala. Hartala is actually one of the favorite medicines of our ancestors. They have so many medicines for from Haratala next to Shankupashana or Gauripashana. So Hartal Shodhana is we always have Dola Yantra. Dola Yantra, our formulations, most of the formulations are Dola Yantra based. 3 hour, 3, 6, 9 hours. This is the method. For Hartala Shodhana, 3 hours is there. First is Tripula Kwata. Tripula Kwata, 3 hours Dola Yantra Svedana is done. Gomutra, followed by Churnodaka, then Kushmanda. And for the last one, Kushmanda, Dolantra, when we do the preparation of small pottery for the talaka, what we used to do is we collect the pulp of Kushmanda and we squeeze it out and prepare a kalka out of it. And in that we used to keep talaka. And around that we used to tie a cloth, cotton cloth, and then we used to give Svedana for in the Kushmanda rasa only. We used to give Svedana for 3 hours. That's the method we followed for Hartala Shodhana. Marana, there is only Talaka Sindura is mentioned in our textbooks. I do have medicine of Talaka Sindura. I never had the opportunity to use it, so I will not be able to give more details about okay where it can be used. So Talaka Sindura is prepared in with Shuddha Talaka, Kajali, Arkadugda, Datura Swarasa, Brungara Swarasa. These are the bhavanas you have to give at least 3 hours. Um, the bhavana also I would like to explain here. Bhavana we used to have only paste consistency. We used to make the drug paste consistency only, not too wet, not too dry, a little bit more dry only. we used to add with spoon, one spoon we used to add, and we used to do mardana, and the mardana is done only for 3 hours. That's the maximum we used to do, and once it is done, we used to keep it for drying, and the next day we used to do next mardana. So it goes for kupi pakwa and talaka sindura we prepare. The other formulation which the yogas we have is talaka rasayana and jogi rasayana. Jogi rasayana is the highest used drug which contains hartala or talaka. It's Anubhuta Yoga which was prepared by my ancestors, and Talaka Rasayana. Talaka Rasayana is the replacement for Gandhaka Rasayana. In place of Gandhaka Rasayana, we use Talaka Rasayana because it gives very good effect, and in skin disorders, it's used mainly in skin disorders, and it's fast acting. That's the reason we used to prepare Talaka. Talaka Rasayana is nothing but Gandhaka Rasayana. All the Bhavana Dravyas that are mentioned in Gandhaka Rasayana, same are used for Talaka Rasayana, and reference is Basarajyam. Third one is Manashila. Manashila, we hardly use Manashila. There is only one medicine that is used for Manashila, Saptamukhi Sinduram. This is the only drug that is used, and Saptamukha Sinduram is used only for treatment of fevers. Shodhana is again Anubhuta, Manashila is again Dolayantra, Ardraka, Brangaraja, Godugda, and Jambira. These are the 4 drugs we use for individually. You have to use it for 3 hours, Dolayantra, and then after that, we use it as Shuddha Manashila in all the yogas. And Saptamukhi Sinduram is one of the biggest yogas we use in our family. This was prepared for Sunny. It's septicemia, if you can call septicemia, post-pregnancy septicemia. In those cases, Saptamukhi Sindura was used. Saptamukhi Sindura contains Savira, Raskurpura. Savira is the name used in Andhra region, Telugu name. Talaka, Artala, Malla, Hingula, and Kajjali. These are the drugs. It also includes Shankpashana, Raskurpura, and also Manashila. So that's Artala, Manashila, Malla, Hingula, Kajjali. So it's a quite Ushna Ugra Virya also. And Saptamukhi Sindura, the references which the manuscript that I have with me, in that they have mentioned it with Suchi Veda. They have used Saptamukhi Sinduram in Suchi Veda, particularly in septicemia. Sanni Roga they have mentioned. Sanni Roga is postpartum septicemia. Gori Pashana or Malla, Shankpashana. Shankpashana, we have more than 100 different yogas for Gauri Pashana or Shankya or Malla. The reason why we have so many formulations is they had the opportunity to try this drug on so many patients, and the results from these preparations are quite good, and that's the reason we have so many formulations for Gauropashina or literally for every disorder they have used one or the other Malla formulations. The Malla Shodhana is again Anubhuta. It's done again Dola Yantra, Sadapa, and Jambir Rasa. Sadap is a small shrub. I think most people know that it's used as ornamental plant here in South India at least. What we do is we prepare kalka of Sadapa, and we put Malla in that. And then we give Svedana in Jambir Rasa for 6 hours. This is the method for Malla Shodhana. Sometimes the Sadapa gets completely absorbed into Jambir Rasa, and then you have to take it out and again prepare Kalka of Sadapa, and then put the Malla again and give. So just why 3 hours is suitable for Shodhana of Malla. So more than Shuddha Malla, in our family we use Marita Malla. Marita Malla is nothing but either Malla Bhasma or Malla Sindura. Malla Sindura is prepared. Malla Bhasma references are also there many places. So Malla Sindura is not mentioned. Malla Kupi Matre, Rasa Kupi Matre, Malla Kupi Matre. This is the name they have given. So Marana also I have mentioned the Marana of Malla Bhasma, Shuddha Malla, Krishna Turupatra, Surasa, Chakrikas. And the Chakrikas, once you prepare, you have to keep them in between Churnika, Sunna. So then you have to give just 21 Apollo Puta and the Bhasma is ready. This is the Malla Bhasma method that in our family we used. The yogas which we use is Malla Sindura, Malla Chandrodaya, Malla Gandusha. Malla Gandusha is used in diabetic complications, especially carbuncles. If there are carbuncles, they have mentioned Madhumeha Pidakas. In that, they have used Malla Gandusha. There is a Gandusha which is prepared from using Shuddha Malla. That is one reference for Shuddha Malla usage. And Malla Mena is there. Mena Kalpas are there. I don't think people have heard about it, but Mena Kalpa is also there. It's a special Kalpa which is prepared from just one rati of Malla, and the it looks like a Mena. Mena is nothing but your candle. It looks like a candle, paraffin wax. That's why it is called Malla Mena, and it's specifically used for Rona. That is again Madhumeha Ronas. Madhumeha Pidakas that has led to lot of Ronas, and in those cases only it was used. Malla Gandusha is also used, and Malla Mena is also used. They have mentioned extensive usage of Malla Gandusha for diabetic carbuncle, and the dosage is only for 7 days, 125 mg for 7 days, Malla Mena or Malla Gandusha, and the next 3 weeks he has to be on milk diet. He should not eat anything else. That's the strict patya is given for usage of Malla Mena. Malla Mena is prepared from 125 1 rati of Malla in half kg of butter. It's prepared from that, and the dosage is just Suchi Veda dosage is given. A small incision is made on the tongue of the patient, and it's dipped in the Malla Mena, and it is given. It's only 7 days at night time. Only at night time, Kafakala. It has to be given within 6 and 10 p.m. of the night, and the patya is milk diet. Only dugdana is the diet for the whole month. The medicine is given only 7 days. For the whole month you have to take dugdana. So these are the Dwadasha Mahayogas. In our family, there are only at any given point only 20 formulations were there. They had a small wooden box, and in that they used to keep all these formulations. So Rasindura is there, Jogi Rasam is Anubhuta, Mallamatre, Tamra Sindura is there. Tamra Basma is not used in our family. We have references for Tamra Basma, but in the formulations they have mentioned, most of them are Tamra Sinduras. Tamra Basma is rarely used. Talaka Sindura, Vasant Kusmakara, extensively used Vasant Kusmakara Rasa. Panchan Rasa. Panchan Rasa is again Basarajam reference, used for Jara Chikitsa. Purna Chandra Rasa, again Vajikaran Rasayana. Anand Bhairu Rasa, Jara Chikitsa. Krishnavark Sindura, it's used for Madhumeha and Prameha Chikitsa. It's used. Siddhamakardoja. Siddhamakardoja is not the word they use. They used to use Sarna Sindura. Sarna Sindura is the word they use for Malla Chandrodaya. Mahajorankusharasa. Again, it is for fever. Balasuryadam. Again, it is for 64 types of fever. Sandhivata, Amavata. For those Badavalamurasam, it is for Tokrasas, Kushtaroga. For all the Kushtas, they used to use Badamalam. So, how they used to use is add Badabalaman Rasam as the ingredient and add any required other drugs. For example, Badavalam Rasamu with Gandhaka Rasayana. Give it to patient with Dadru. You give it for 5 days, Dadru is gone. That's how they have written. Anand Bhairavi Rasi again. Anand Bhairavi Rasa is again for I think it's a repetition. Anand Bhairavi Rasi. Again, it is for Jora. Swarna Sindura. Swarna Sindura is particularly the Siddhamakarda which is mentioned is Agnisthai Parada Basma. When Agnisthai Parada Basma they have mentioned it as Agnisthai Parada Basma, but it is referred to as Siddhamakarda. Swarna Sindhura was also prepared from Swarna Bhasma. That is used as ingredient in preparation of other formulation. Vishatinduka Taila is there. Vishatindika Asava also we used to prepare. Anand Bhairav place Vishatindika Asava we used to prepare. Malla Bhasma, as I mentioned, Malla Bhasma is there. Savira Mena or Sindura. Savira Mena is Rasakarpura. Mena Kalpa of Savira is also there. Savira Sindura is also there. Rasakarpura Sindura. Sindura preparation is also mentioned in our uh, books. The yogas and treatment protocols. Rasindura, particularly Rasindra, we use almost Rasindra in almost every formulation. I have just mentioned the ones which I use in my clinical practice. Most of the time, most of the patients I get are either, particularly in Bangalore, is asthma, which is very prevalent in Bangalore. Allergy, eosinophilia, that is also very prevalent in Bangalore. Fever. So, fever, Rasindra, honey, and Nagavali Patra. So, it is interesting to note when my father was practicing, my job waking up early in the morning is to mix Rasindra with honey and give a small, thin lepan of Rasindra with honey to Nagavali Patra, and he used to carry it to his clinic. So, who were small babies up to the age of 15 years, whoever comes to his clinic, he used to give one Nagavali Patra. That's how Jara treatment was done. And seasonal flu, whenever used to come, people used to come and take this Nagavali Patra. Villedele, it's called in Kannada. So Villedele Kudi, Ele Kudi, Ele Kudi. People used to come and take this. And my father used to charge 2 rupees for this. And it was very efficacious for treatment of fever, especially the Arka. Rasundara prepared with Arka. That's the Rasindra we use. We used to use. And for this Shwasa Roga, um, in Vega Avastha, whenever there is Vega of Shwasa, what I do is I prepare a capsule of this medicine and I keep this ready. Rasindra 250 mg, Mukta Pesti 500 mg, Abragbasma 500 mg. 3 capsules you have to give. What I tell them is break the capsule and mix it with honey and take it. This is what I advise. My father used to tie it in a paper and give it to patients whenever they had. So in today's world, most of the people don't accept it. Even if you take the capsule itself, it will work within 15-20 minutes. The maintenance dose for the next 15 days we used to give is Rasindra 125 mg, Abraglosma 250, Sitapalazurna 1 gram, night with honey after food. So all the Rasoshadas we give at night only, and only OD dosage is there. No BD dosage of Rasoshadis are there in our family. Uh, few cases we might have BD dosage, but most of the references are OD dosage. Only at night time around 9:30 after food, and it has to be taken with Gruta, honey, milk, Navanita. These are the references. Uh, for allergy and eosinophilia, this I prepare it and keep it in my clinic. Whatever patient comes, irrespective of his prakriti, we give him. Only if pitta kala is there and pitta prakriti is there, then we have to give navanita or gruta. We give with gruta. We tell them you start taking gruta with this, then no untoward side effects will happen. So this this I use very often in my clinical practice. Literally, this medicine is always available with me whenever the patient comes. The same medicine is also available with me, always available in my clinic. One is for tonsillitis. Uh, Once I finished my graduation, I used to conduct tonsillitis clinic camp, tonsillitis camp in nearby villages. So this was the medicine I used to use. Malasindra 125 mg, Mukta Pishti 250, Abracaxan 500 mg. This is a single dose we used to give at night. Even if the tonsils are swollen like badara, next day morning it will shrink in one dose only. In my clinical practice of 13 years, I have never had the opportunity to use Mallasindura more than 3 times. I have always used uh, one time or 2 times. I'm till now I could never use the third dosage of Mallasindura, and Mallasindura I use here is 125 mg. The percentage of Malla in Mallasindura is hardly 14%. I think, I guess 40%, 14%. So it is safe below the lethal dose of 125 mg of Shuddha Malla. I always keep this whenever patient comes to my clinic. I always tell them, come in the evening, I will give you the medicine. The reason why particularly when you are using Rasaushadhis, you have to calculate the dose and give particular dose only, because most people in India, they believe that Ayurveda is very slow, and if you take double dose also, nothing will happen. And that's not the case when it comes to Rashastra. That is not also the case with the Kastoshadhis also. But if you have Ashwagandha Churna, Nagori Ashwagandha Churna, which is quite good, and you yourself have collected and prepared, in the dosage of 3 to 5 grams, if you continuously give to a patient, he will definitely develop gastritis in 15 days. So, Aushadhi, Ahara, these two are properly differentiated in Ayurveda, and we have to make sure the patient understands it, and they have the necessary respect for the medicine which we are giving. Our Aushadhis are stronger than most modern medicines. And single dose, I always tell them, come in the evening, I will give you the dosage, and you take it only at night time before sleep, and always take gruta with this, at least 1 or 2 spoons of gruta. Sometimes pittaja prakriti patient also comes, and he will have tonsillitis. In that case, Malla is contraindicated, Malla Sindhura. So what we do is, one day before, I ask him to take at least 250 grams of dadi. Ask him to take lots of dadi at night. So once he takes dadi, and the next day, second day we give the same medicine with again 250 grams of dadi, adding sugar. We add lots of sugar. So pitta shamana karya, also you can use it like this, and I have used many times. At no point in time, Malla Sindhura or Malla Yoga should be given to Pitta Prakriti, Pitta Kala, and Pitta Rutu. You should never give Malla in this, because one of our doctors used Malla Sindhura for treatment of Dushta Pratisha, and the patient had epistaxis. That is one of the side effects of using Malla Sindhura. Epistaxis will happen if you use it in Pitta Prakriti. You will see it. Kapha Prakriti and Vata Prakriti, you will not see it. Particularly if you follow the instructions properly. Gruta, if you give, definitely nothing. So what the patient's complaint, one of the side effects of Malla Sindhura when you give to the patients is dryness of mouth, dryness of entire oropharyngeal region. He will start feeling like a choking sensation. Once he wakes up in the morning, he will feel choking sensation, not the choking sensation. So once he drinks water, uh, it will all reduce. And the next 2 days, we just give Grutanna or Dugdanna. We advise particular Grutanna, Dugdanna. Nothing else is given. No other medicine is required. Just single dose, give it at night. Next morning, it will shrink. Shwasa also, again, same Rasindra. From Rasindra only we have learnt that if in place of Rasindra, if you give Mallasindra, it will give very fast acting. So single capsule, 125 mg Abragbasma, 500 mg if you give single capsule. Vegavastha, if you give that capsule, within 15 minutes the Vega will stop. Irrespective of Ryle's crepitation, wheeze is there, within 15 to 20 minutes the Vega will stop. They will feel normal. The maintenance dose, again we use Rasindra, the other medicine that I have mentioned in the Rasindra patient. Dushta Pratisha, again Mallasindra, Dadi, Maricha, Sharkara, Saindav Lavana. So this is the Anupana, Dadi, Maricha, Sharkara and Saindav Lavana. This is the Anupana. Saindav Lavana is very pinch water. Largest quantity is Dadi. Maricha, Sharkara is based on patient's palatability. Again, 1 dose at night. That's all we give. Next day, he will feel very, very, very good symptomatic relief. And after that, again, we go back to Rasindra Asura on the base match for Dushta Pratisha. If Nasya is possible, please go ahead for Nasya. But in my clinical practice, the idea of doing OPD, especially outpatient clinical practice, is to give symptomatic relief. For patients like I get a lot of infertility patients. For infertility patients, we go for Panchkarma. Again, Panchkarma is really good. With Panchkarma, if you are giving medicine for 3 months with Panchkarma, you just have to give it for 15 days or 1 month. So the results are very evident with Panchkarma. So this is the reference for Jogi Rasayanam. It's mainly Haratala. This is how they have written most of the formulation. It's a poem. It's in the poetic manner they write formulations because it is easy to remember or memorize. So Rashavishagandhaka Tankaram Tale, Trikatu Trifale Samane Pale, Brungi Purandare Mardanakare, Sarvaroga Takshanakare, Jogi Rasanam, Sarvajivanakari, Sanjeevanakari. So Rasa is Parada, Visha is Vatsanabi, Gandhaka, Tankana, Talaka, Tala is Talaka, Trikatu, Trifala, Sama Nepali. Equal quantity of that is Nepali. Nepali is your Crotus, what do you call Nepali? I remember it as Nepali. Jayapala. Jayapala. Nepali is the name for Jayapala. Brungi is Brungaraj. Purandara is nothing but Purnava. It's a synonym for Purnava. Mardhanakari, you have to just do thoroughly as well. Sarvaroga Dakshinakari. So all the disorders it will take care of it. Jogi Rasanam Sanjeevana. Jogi Rasanam is the name of the drug. So it's one of the Anubhuta Yoga. My forefathers have prepared. Almost 70% of my patients I use Jogi Rasayanam. So these are some of the Anupana Bhedameva Chikitsa. So my ancestors have given a lot of importance to Anupana Bhedameva Chikitsa. One of the reference is Anupana Manjari, which is again a Telugu book. There are 108 uses of this drug. The 9 which I have used, I have mentioned here. Most probably in the future, I will also get uh, the opportunity to use it. Shleshma Jwara, I have used it with Guda and Drona Pushpiswarasa. My father used it, so I have seen it. My father using it for Bananti Jwara, again postpartum fever. Jogi Rasanam with Ardharka and Nagavali Sorasa. Again with my father I have used. Sarva Vishahara. This we always lived in outskirts of a city because it was easier to plant few of the drugs and then also go for collection. So in Sarva Vishahara, when wherever we lived, there was risk of scorpion bite and snake bite. So both these bites, this is how we used to use incision on the bite mark or on the bregma or the top of the head, and Jogi Rasana application we used to do. Once we apply it, it causes vomiting. That is what happens. Once you apply it, it causes vomiting. Because of the vomiting, the visha will go out. That's the reason. Joratisara for kids, the Joratisara, one of the main symptom. Most of the kids have Joratisara. Jogirasana with Takra. Takra is the Anupana. Vamana for Vamana Jogirasana with Tamrajala. So the water is stored in Tamra vessel, copper vessel, and it is washed with your own hands at least 7 times. And that water you take it and give it with Jogirasan, which causes vomiting. And if you give it with only water, just water, plain water, that is kept in earthen vessel or stainless steel vessel, it stops vomiting. This I have tried on 4 5 patients and it works. Virechana, Jogirasanam again with Erandatela, if you give, it causes Virechana. Ajirna, in Ajirna patient, Jogirasanam with Jambira Rasa. If you give it, it will take care of Ajirna. Shwasa Jogirasana with rice gruel. This is used in after using Malla. You give this uh, formulation for to prevent any untoward incident from the Shwasa Vega. Kasa Jogirasana with Ashwagandha Patra Rasa. When we were kids, we always had Jogi Rasayana in our home, and whenever we had cough, cold, we used to just take one tablet of Jogi Rasayana, we just rub it and with tulsi patra rasa, because tulsi was available, ashwagandha patra rasa, ashwagandha patra was not, with tulsi we used to take. So that also used to work. So yoga parivartana is done in our family on a very extensive scale. Yoga parivartana is, replace of rasindra with malasindra or rasindra with any other drug, Swarna Bhasma, like that. So I have taken Vasant Kusmakara Rasa because this has been used extensively in our family. I mean, for every disease, to treatment of every disease, a small Virechana is given, and with Virechana, after Virechana, we used to give Vasant Kusmakara Rasa. So in our family, the treatment protocol is first treat the disease. Once he is free from the signs and symptoms, then give a mild Mrudu Rechana, and after Mrudrachana give Rasayana. That means the disease will never come back again. He might contract different disease, but the current disease for which he has come for treatment, he will not get. That's the reason. And for that we used to use Vasant Kusmaka Rasa. So here in the Vasant Kusmaka Rasa, we used to replace Rasindura with Mallasindura. So if you replace Rasindura with Mallasindura in Vasant Kusmaka Rasa, the advantages are fast acting compared to Rasindura. The indication doesn't change. Indication doesn't, whatever the indication is for Vasant Kusmakara, it will stay. So reduce blood sugar levels to less than 150 mg per dl. This is the maximum I have achieved, up to 150 or 160 mg per dl. Reduce dosage, the dosage of the Vasant Kusmakara Rasa will reduce to 65 mg to 125 mg. The actual dosage of Vasant Kusmakara Rasa is 250 mg to 500 mg. So it will reduce to 65 mg to 125 mg. Advantage of using Vasant Kusmakara Rasa as a Vajikarana, here with addition of Mallasindra, it becomes Tikshna Vajikara. You can use it if you have time. If you are preparing Vasant Kusmakara Rasa, if you add Mallasindra, Vajikarana, especially in a diabetic patients who is having ED, you should use Mallasindra in Vasant Kusmakara Rasa. That's the best way to treat that. And in 10 days only we'll get results. You can try it yourself and you'll come to know. On the right hand side, I have mentioned two screenshots. One is the screenshot from Basavarajyam English translation. The other is Basavarajyam, the Telugu book, the original Telugu book. The English translation has omission of at least two or three ingredient. The Telugu translation is actually the original. So the reason why I am mentioning it here is Vasant Kusmakara in the original text by Basavarajyam in Telugu lipi is the one we use. We do not, the English also uh, I have all versions of Basavarajyam, including the latest Telugu version. The reason why I've mentioned these two screenshots here is to understand the importance that the regional language, whatever written in regional language, is lost in translation. So you can keep Basarajam, the English version or the Hindi version, as your reference guide to go through the formulations or any related information. But if you want to prepare a formulation, you have to go to the original lipi, and that's where you have to mention. So here Suvarna Bhasmamu rendu bhaga, Raja Bhasma rendu bhaga, Unga Bhasmamu moodu bhagam, Sisa Bhasma is mentioned. Sisa is nothing but Naga Bhasma. In the English version of it, Naga Bhasma is not mentioned. He directly goes for Lohakanta Bhasmamu, Rasa Bhasmamu, Nala Bhagamu, Abharavasu Nala Bhagamu, Pagada Bhasmamu 4 Bhagamu. So Pagada is again Kapardika. Kapardika Bhasma is mentioned here. Kapardika is missed, and Muttipu Bhasmamu, that is Mukta Pishti, and then he starts talking about the Bhavana Dravyas. So Naga Bhasma and Pagada Bhasma is missed. Kapardika Bhasma is missed out in the English translation. So that's why if you are trying to read Basurajyam. um, it is better if you it's always good if you learn a new language. It will help you in many things, but in the original book only you have to read and understand, like how we are taught in our colleges. If you read Sanskrit sloka, then only you will get a better understanding of rather than the translation. So same I am saying it here. So I had the opportunity to treat COVID-19 patients with high virulence. High virulence is the temperature of 105 to lung damage. This is the COVID positive report of the entire family. He was a friend of a friend, and he his father, his mother, and himself were on antiviral drugs. It did not work, and his father's health deteriorated, and they were looking for hospitals. That was the peak time of COVID-19 second wave, and it was fortunately, unfortunately, they were looking for alternates. I mean, there was no option, so rather than waiting for the hospitals to come, they contacted my friend, and my friend referred him to myself for treatment. And the medicine that I use for this COVID-19 is Malachandrodaya 125 mg. In case if you don't have Malachandrodaya, you can use Malasindura with Sarnavasma 1:2 ratios. That also works. Siddhamakardoja 250 mg. It acts as Yoga Vahi, very fast acting. Muktapishti 250 mg, Abragbasma 250 mg. Single dose with honey I have given. And single dose, if you give it, I gave it at 3 o'clock. I went to their home, and 3 o'clock I gave it. Within half an hour, he had so much sweating that he has to change his clothes. That much sweating it will happen. So again, this same medicine I gave only 2 doses. Third dose, I never had the opportunity to give him the third dose because fever stopped. 48 hours fever did not come. Only one dose I have given. One day one dose. Next day 2 days one dose I have given. Then I kept him on Bruhatva Chintamani 250 mg with Visha Tendu Kasava 8 to 10 12 drops with 30 ml water TID, and Kanakasava 30 ml TID. This is the medicine I have given. Three patients with high virulence living in the same house. I gave this medicine. All of them are uh, came out of this COVID, and it, it was life-changing experience. I never thought that this medicine will work. Um, Incidentally, myself and my mother also had COVID, and we also took the same medicines. And the advantage of using this medicine, Malla, especially using Malla, what I have observed is, uh, if you take this medicine, the infection was not spreading to lungs, or even if it was spreading, it will stop wherever it is there. It will stop. If you use Mallasindura, one thing you can observe, especially in asthmatic bronchial asthma patients or bronchitis patient, when they have Vega, and if you give one Vega Shamana Aushadhi with Mallasindura, he will not have another Vega for 6 months. This is guaranteed. This I have observed in my clinical practice. A lot of asthma patients come, and if you give Malla Yoga for 6 months, they will not have any Vegas. But if they are not on Malla Yoga, they will with Bangalore's climates, definitely they will have one or two incidents of bronchial attack within a month only. It happens. In kids also, I have given Mallachandra there. The dosage is 30 mg. How do you calculate 30 mg? You take 125 mg, like how Malla usage he mentioned, use Maricha. Same way you can calculate, and divided doses you can give. In kids also you can give, no problem. Only thing is you have to give it with lots of gruta and dugda mixed, dugdana and gruta. This is mandatory. You cannot avoid it. So Anupana is Kanakasava. Kanakasava is again Shastrokta formulation. Vishatindu Kasava is again Anubhuta Yoga, 8 and 12 drops that we can give. Uh, 8 is the highest, 8 drops, 8 to 8 drops is the highest dosage, 8 to 12 drops. 8 to 12 drops works in COVID patients, and general fever and all we give only 4 drops. So these are the certificates. The left hand side is my great grandfather certificates before independence 1943, and these are the books I have, manuscripts with I have. This is the latest one, 1958. ಅನುಭೂತ ಔಷಧಿಗಳು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆದಿವೆ. This is how they have written. So this is in Kannada. We have Telugu also. Lot of books written in Kannada Lipi Telugu, and Telugu Lipi Telugu books are also there. I think that concludes everything.
Thank you for sharing your experience. That was a wonderful session.
Okay, Mena Kalpa. Oh, okay. So Mena Kalpa is nothing but the name Mena itself means it is like your candles. So it was prepared from boiling aushadis, especially the Malla yogas or Savira yogas, which are very Ushna and Ugra. So 125, one rati of that drug is placed in butter, Navanita. So it is slowly boiled. So it will never convert it into Gruta, and it will not be in the stage of Navanita also. So it will be semi-solid. So that's why it is called Mena. It looks like a Mena. That's why it is called Mena Kalpana. You all these Kalpa in Sukshma form. Uh, so I have whatever the dosage I have mentioned, the same dosage I use 125 mg. Malasindhurata 125 mg. Shuddha Malla I have never used, but my father has used. I have seen my father use Shuddha Malla. So I never got the opportunity to use, especially in diabetic carbuncle. But Mallasindra I use in 125 mg dosage. It is safe to use. If you really want to see the Atthaika Chikitsa of Ayurveda, then you should start using Mallasindra. Mallasindra will give you very good results, and it is safe to use, especially if you, as I mentioned, only at night time, and with Gruta Navanita as Anupana, it's quite safe to use. If you don't try, then you will never know. I use it almost on a daily basis because here it is Anupa Desha, Bangalore. It's very cold, so yes, fever in child also we can give. There is no issues. The dosage becomes half. Adult dosage is 125 mg, dosage is 65 mg. So only one finger application is given. So how it was in my when my father was practicing, and my job was to prepare this Nagavali Patra. So we mix Rasindura and honey. So how many fingers we used to dip in the honey and apply it to Nagavalli was the method. So only one finger if you use, it is for child. If three fingers we use, then it is for adult. Okay, for tumor, we in our family we have treated only three cancers. One is breast cancer, one is uterine cancer, another one is blood cancer. These are the three tumors they have mentioned. And for the three tumors, all the three tumors, they have used Tamra Sindura. Tamra Sindura is one of the main medicine they have used, and with that Malla Sindura is used. These are the two main medicines they have used, and rest all of them is symptomatic treatment. So whatever the presenting symptoms are there, with that symptoms you can use it. The main medicine is Tamra Sindura. Tamra Sindura is used for cancer, and three cancers they have mentioned: breast cancer and uterine cancer and blood cancer. These are the three cancers they have mentioned. No, I prepare all my medicines. I prepare all my medicines, especially Rasindura and Mallasindra. These two I definitely prepare, because what patients I get, that kind of medicines I prepare. The historical aspect of it I have given in the presentation. Main medicine I prepare is Rasindura, Mallasindra, Jogirasanam. These three medicines I always have with me, and few pistis. Especially pistis we use. The pistis we prepare with dugda. We don't prepare with gulab jal. We prepare all pistis with mukta, because if you prepare pisti with dugda, the pisti will be atyanta shitala. So when we are using ugra ushadi, if you have atyanta shitala ushadi, then the ushnata for the patient will be reduced. That's the reason we prepare our mukta pisti or praval pisti with dugda. Seven bhavanas we give, and it becomes atyanta shakti. You will get cold if you take the mukta pishti we use. That much shitala is there, which is used only for medicinal purposes. I mean, addition to Rasindra or Malasindra. Whatever medicines I have mentioned in the presentation, those are all I have prepared with my father. Currently, I am not using them. Most medicines I use is Rasindra, Malasindra, Samir Pannagrasa, Malla Chandrodaya, Swarna Samir Pannagrasa. These are the main medicines. The kind of patients I am getting, these are the medicines I use. The Swarna Bhupati Rasa, Panchan Rasa, I do have this formulation, but we don't get so many fever patients. If fever is there, patient itself will go to allopathy clinic and take Dolo 650, so they generally don't come. So
Sir,
if there are no
thank you very much,
questions,
sir,
thank you.
for
We can close up.
your experience talk.
Okay, so there are two questions. How do you measure small dosage any accurate machine? Okay, so see, practically you don't have to go and measure 65 mg. There is a method, like in Malla Shuddha Malla usage, he mentions, okay, 125 mg, you use it with 12 grams or 15 grams of maricha, and you make 125 mg of dose. The same method we use. Okay, the method is you take 121 ratti of Malla Sindura, and you multiply it 10 times. That becomes 1 gram. Okay, if you multiply 125 into 10, it becomes 1 gram, 1250. So you take 1 gram. So for that 1 gram, what is the 250 mg Abracavasma? Multiply it again, 2.5 grams. So 1 gram you can measure very easily. So you have to mix it, and then what you do. So if I prepare this formulation, then how many equal parts I have to make it? So 125 mg, 10 times 10 you have multiplied, so 10 equal parts you have to. So mardana has to be done very properly here. So remember, if you are preparing Malasindra Aushadis or anything with related to arsenic, the mardana is very important. And mardana, in the sense, the formulation has to be homogeneous, so that malla should not stick to one part of the medicine. If that is the case, then it leads to a lot of untoward incident in the patients. So mardana has to be done properly, and you have to keep a separate khalva for malla preparations. You cannot mix it with other formulations. For malla yogas only, you have to keep a separate khalvantras. So we have at least in my home I have 5 khalvas. Among them, one is for Swarna Yogas, and another two is for Malla Yogas. So you have to keep separate khalvantras for Malla Yogas. So how to treat complicated arise from arsenic preparation? So arsenic preparations complications, actually, if you go by the shastras, you will never find any complications. The only thing I have found, I have interacted with many doctors during my stint in corporate world. I used to go out and meet lots of people. Whichever city I used to go, I used to meet Ayurvedic doctors. So one of the things happens with arsenic complication is the Shodhana karma is not properly done. So as I mentioned, for Hartala, we have 5 drugs, and each drug 3 hours you have to do Shodhana. You cannot miss out on that. You have to do proper Shodhana of that drug. So the same Shodhana Dravya, the Dravyas used for Shodhana, they can be used as your chelating agents, or the treatment of complications arise from arsenic. So I will give you one example. One of my seniors, she prepared Bhuta Bhairavi Rasa, that is Talaka Pradhana Aushadhi, and the dosage was 125 mg, and Shodhana was not properly done, and because of that improper Shodhana, he missed out on Kushmanda Rasa part, Dolayantra Kushmanda Rasa part, and because of that, she developed paralytic symptoms in the patient. Single dosage, and for that treatment we gave 7 days Kushmand Rasa. कुष्मांड रसा कुष्मांड का सब कुछ दे दिया हमने उसको, हलवा, चाकना, चपाती, सब कुष्मांड. That's what we gave. 7 days it was reversed. So the drugs used for Shodhana of these dravyas can be used as for treatment of arsenic complications. And the reason why arsenic always precedes, the Anupana, if you look at the Anupana of arsenic preparation, it is always Gruta and Navanita. The reason why it is there, if you go by science also, whenever you take fats, especially Gruta or Navanita, it causes cholagogic action. उसके वजह से क्या होता है? The bile will come out, and the liver cells are free to process arsenic is processed in liver only. The more fat you take, the more it is removed from your body. So that's why reason they have mentioned take abundant amount of Navanita and Gruta. And in my practice, third dose still I have not used Malasindra. 1 dose is enough. Second dose hardly I use. In COVID case, I used the second dose, but most of the time single dose is more than sufficient. So I think we can close now if there are no questions. Chinmay sir, we can close, right?
Hello.
Hello sir.
Huh. Any more questions from the participants? Else we'll end the session.
Yes sir. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.